Hey, so super quick, I just wanted to talk about anxiety and how that kind of relates to capitalism. I think, at least for me, in my personal experience. And so by that I mean, I was really anxious, and depressed and sort of, feeling down for most of my adult, like, corporate career, doing jobs after college. And I think the reason is because I just don't have the motivation to capitalize. I don't have the motivation for capitalism. And by that I mean, like, I'm an outgoing guy who's, kind of smart and is good at communications, talking to folks on the phone or on email or whatever. And so, that lends itself, for folks to be like, oh man, well, you'd crush it at sales. Just jump into sales. You're a fun guy and you'll make a lot of money, and that's gonna be great. And so I did that. In my first job out of college, I got promoted into this like sales role, this company, Apex Systems, that did like recruiting. And I totally hated it. I would dread doing it every morning before I would have to go in. And then, when I did go in, I didn't like it. And then at night, I would just kind of get high and watch TV and, try to forget about it because I knew the next day I'd have to do it again. Another example, I guess, would be, weddings. I do weddings. I marry people as a reverend, my friends, my family, coworkers and stuff. And my mother for years would always say like, oh man, like, you're good at this, you enjoy it. You should really monetize that. You got to capitalize on that and, put flyers out over town and a website and stuff. And, instead of marrying your friends and family, you should marry strangers, on the weekends and make money. And I was like, oh, cool, like, yeah, that makes sense. But I just never did it. And I think the reason why is because I just don't have the motivation to do it. I think in my mind, I'm like, oh, cool, here's this thing I enjoy doing. And it's like a special thing with me and the folks that are involved. And the idea of doing that thing for strangers in exchange for money, I guess just didn't motivate me or interest me or excite me at all. And I think that dissonance, that kind of conflict between the expectation that folks might have of like, oh, hey, well, like, you can make a bunch of money, using like these skills and traits and abilities and talents you have. And my kind of, I guess, feeling that like, oh man, like, I love having these traits and skills and abilities or what have you, but when it comes to capitalizing on it or monetizing it, that's kind of where my motivation kind of wanes. So like, voiceover is a good example. For years people would tell me like, oh, you've got a really nice voice. You should be on the radio or something like that, which is awesome. And I love when people say that. It's very nice of them and it makes me feel good. But when I try to capitalize on that and like monetize that trait or that skill or ability, not cool, not fun, and kind of lost interest. I enjoy being a guy with a nice voice and talking to folks and stuff, but I don't enjoy being a businessman whose product is that voice, I guess. I don't know, kind of rambling here, so I'm just gonna cut it off, but that's what I think the deal is with me, at least.